We're going to give it a go. So hopefully in a moment you will be able to see my screen. I'm completely blind now, being on one monitor, but this is the actual script. And I've got on my desktop my origin and destination file. So if we have a look at our destination at the moment, this is our staging site. And as I said, this has still got testing.withcanada. So we're just going to quickly do what I said earlier, which is we're going to say, we'll take our testing part with canada.dev, and we just want to replace this with what the live site is going to be, which will be just with Canada. If we hit replace all of those are done, and we'll save that. So these Screaming Frog exports give us the URL, the address, status code, which we filtered to, whether the page is indexable. That doesn't really matter or not at the moment because it's a staging site. But more importantly, it gives us really important information such as the title, meta description, canonical links, word counts, basically everything we could possibly want to know about these pages. Let me save this. Cool. And if you go to that URL, you should be taken to this script. Now, this might be intimidating for some people if you've never seen it before, but you basically don't need to really know anything to run these scripts. Daniel's put some extra instructions here in case you kind of forget what you need to be doing, but it's really simple. All you need to do when you come to this script is go to runtime at the top and click run all. You'll see these scripts are actually broken down into blocks, and you've got a little play button because you can execute just one block at a time. So it would work if you clicked play, waited for that to finish, you'll get a tick, then you could move on, click that. That's useful in some scripts when you need certain things to be completed before the next subsequent step. But the way that Dan has written this script means it should work if you just do runtime and click run all. And what's going to happen is in the top right here, you'll see this is connecting. So basically, Google Colab connects you to like an instance, which is essentially a virtual machine. They give you some resources to execute the Python script. And you'll see here, as the code block is running, you'll get this kind of little loading icon, and you will even get a little green where it's up to. So this will kind of let you know everything's working. This part is the longest part. This will probably take about a minute or so. What this is doing, pip is a Python package manager. So all of the things listed here, what are called packages. So it's face that we talked about. That's the mini LM sentence transformers. Pandas is used for data manipulation. That's Jupyter widgets. Once that's run, it goes straight onto here. And this is where some people get stuck because it's got a tick, but it's not obvious what to do next. If you scroll down, it's not the most user-friendly thing. You'll see it's paused because it's waiting for you to upload the files that we made here. So it wants the origin.csv. So again, it's dead simple. We choose files, select your origin from your Screaming Frog crawl, and this should upload straight away through your browser. And then it wants the destination file, so exactly the same thing. And then now what it's going to ask us to do, if you remember all of the columns we saw on our output, these are essentially the titles of those columns. So this is the metadata that we have about these URLs. So this is down to you to select what things you want to include in your match. So if you know, for instance, I have maintained the page titles between the old and the new site, you can select title 1, which is the page title element, to match between the sites. If you hold down Control, you can actually select multiple things to do the match on, which is what makes this so powerful. So many scripts that were similar to this used to use more basic matching algorithms, and they would just use something like the address. So to keep this nice and simple, I'm going to just run this script on the title, which I know I've tried to keep the same. And if I hold control, I can select the address, which is the URL field as well. And then you click let's go. And essentially now it will process the similarity of all of these. You might get a few warnings like this. These aren't anything to worry about. This is Hugging Face, which essentially gives us access to some models. We're using the public free ones, so we don't need an API key. So you can ignore that. Same with this. This isn't particularly important. And what it's doing now is essentially batching off and running this Facebook similarity between the vectors we've made. And it's straight away very easy to miss. It's automatically downloaded this output.csv. So if I show you this file, we've got here our origin URL and our matched URL. And one of the things I would do always at the beginning in Excel, if you go to data and then sort, I sort by similarity score. So similarity score is essentially how similar it believes those URLs and all the other metadata you give it are. So when we've got this match of 1, it's because we've actually maintained the URL, so it's done a good job there. All the titles identical as well. So this gives you then a really good place to start looking at where you might concentrate on. So here we've got some poor matches. And so for instance, on our current live website, we've got a team page that's got Floor on it, who is a lovely person from our digital PR team. And it's matched this page on our new site to just the team page. And I know that's because we haven't actually created Floor's page yet on the new website. So it's just tried to find the closest page, which it thinks is team, but it's not a great match. I think this has happened in a few cases where we haven't finished uploading content onto the new site. So actually, this is a useful tool for us to see where we've maybe missed parts. So there's like an old job ad on the current site that isn't, of course, on the new site, but it's matched it to a very similar job. And these are the kind of manual calls that you'll need to make anyway, because the reality of site migrations is that you won't always have a exact matching URL. And that's the other great thing about this script, is that if it can't find anything, it will just give you a suggestion. Pagination is sometimes where it gets stuck a bit here. So the reason why it's matching these, maybe just we have different numbers of paginated pages between the two sites. You could probably improve this again by including something like the header 1 or the header 2 that's on the page, because my guess is that the page titles across the paginated page sets are going to be the same. So you could increase accuracy if you included the header tags as well. So I'm going to jump back into my presentation now. And just finish off with just some advanced use cases. So particularly challenging site migrations might be something like you have an origin URL like page equals 3593, like some really archaic old system, and the new destination URL you've made is much friendlier and nicer, and maybe even on your old site all the titles were the same, so you can't even match the titles. You can use Screaming Frog custom extraction. So I've put a link in here, which will give you a guide to this, because you can use Screaming Frog to actually scrape any part of your web page. So if I had a really challenging migration like this, the website's still going to be templated, and I could actually extract the main body of content in a custom field on both sites. So I could grab the content from all of my origin URLs that I have migrated to my destination URLs. And even though the title doesn't match, the URL doesn't match, I'm still going to get a brilliant kind of matching metadata by just scraping that content. You can combine that maybe if you're going to if you've got things like meta descriptions as well. The trick to getting really good results out of this script is essentially just getting the right mix of the elements that you're using for your similarity search. My advice is always start simple. Start with the address if they're similar, with titles, with headers, and see what kind of match you get from there. And then if you're not getting the results you want, go and have a look at those pages and see why maybe your results are getting thrown off. Do both sets of pages have a kind of relative we want to migrate them to, or is, like in my pagination example, I've wanted to compare the titles, but they're actually the same on each page. So that'd be kind of my last advanced tip on that.